Hey, what's going on, guys? TalkNorwichCity here, back for another video. I hope you guys are doing fantastically well in this calming international break where we don't really have to think about Norwich and we can just chill out for a bit, because the last month of supporting Norwich City has been very traumatic, to say the least. And I was certainly looking forward to the break, but I still have to talk about Norwich City, and I'm sure all of you guys are still thinking about what we need to change, what we need to do to return to the winning formula. A lot of people have been asking me since the game at the weekend, Jack, are you Alex Neil in or Alex Neil out? And boy, did I not think that this was going to be a discussion 8 weeks ago when we were top of the league and flying. But after the past month of results and some of the things that have been done, this is a real debate that is happening. And I'm going to say what I am at the end of this video, so you have to watch on. But I mean, let's have a look at some of the reasons why people are arguing that Alex Neil needs to be chucked out. The same mistakes have been happening for too long now. When we lost to Preston at home, I wasn't positive, but I was still upbeat. I was like, well, only a few things have to be changed. And then we went to Leeds away, and the same things kind of happened. We threw away a lead. The same had happened at Fulham a few weeks ago. We were then playing against 10 men and we still managed to lose. There was a complete sense of not really sure what we were doing, what our roles were. We just couldn't seem to grind it out. And then we got thumped at Brighton, an absolute shambolic performance. It really was poor. And then of course the weekend where once again we looked lethargic. There was no tempo. It was the same kind of boring formation and tactics that had been used in the previous 4 weeks that hadn't worked, and we threw away another lead. And now we're in a position where we're 10 points off the top of the table, which is quite some distance, because you can't really see Newcastle losing many more games from now on unless something drastically bad happens. But I can't see that happening. The same with Brighton. They look like a fairly solid squad. So we're going to basically have to win all of our games and hope that Newcastle and Brighton slip up. And I just can't see that happening at the moment. And a lot of people looking out inwards would probably say, well, Jack, you're still in the top 6. You're still, within touching distance of the top. But Norwich fans will tell you this isn't something that is just going to change like that and we're going to suddenly be winning games 4-5-0 again. This is something where we are just going downhill and quickly, and unless things change, then this pattern is going to continue. Of course, it's not all Alex Neil's fault. I think the players have been poor. Certain players that have to step up haven't been doing that. I think Tim Close has looked poor. This man, I love him so much, but he hasn't been that great. Michael McGovern making mistakes after being believed in by Alex Neil. You've got Karen Jerome, who's on a bit of a goal drought. You've got your midfielders in there who haven't really been pulling the strings. Louis Thompson was fantastic. Credit where credit's due there. But except for, maybe Thompson and even like Murphy hasn't been performing. Pritchard hasn't been performing. Even Houlihan the past couple of games hasn't been performing. You have to look at players as well. And I think even more so, of course, like I always say, problems start at the top. Delia, Michael Wynne-Jones, that, interview that they'd done in the Times was so illy timed, it was so poorly timed, and it just stank of arrogance that they said that they aren't even listening to offers for the club. We know how much Delia, Wynne-Jones and whoever else has shares love the club. We are lucky to be in a situation where our owners care so dearly about this football club, but at the same time you can't be romantic in football. And unfortunately, the way the game has gone, and it sounded like Delia and Wynne-Jones were slightly bitter about the way football has gone in terms of the money. They aren't going to sell, and that means we aren't going to progress into a team that we all want to be, a team that could be challenging for Europa League qualification spots. We are going to be a yo-yo club until Delia sells up, and they're not going to sell up because they're just going to pass all of their shares on to their nephew, and he will then be the majority shareholder. But I mean, I went to you guys on Twitter to ask, because it is a fairly split bag in terms of fans. So Daniel DeFalco says, give him the QPR game, he deserves one more game. And then a QPR fan, it looks like, QPR fan Harry Perkins says, surely if you want him out now, Surely if you want him out, now is the best time for it, which I would probably agree with. Going into an international break, you'd have time to find other managers. And I guess that is another problem. Who is out there? And that's something that's been brought up in these tweets. But of course, QPR have just sacked their manager, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. George Cape says, Alex Neil in. No good options available. Same players letting managers down over and over again. Max Bovel says, I'm going to be bold and say Alex Neil in. He's not been backed by the board and let down by scouting multiple times. Give him until Christmas to let him change his tactics. If he doesn't, then consider sacking him. And I kind of agree with Max there. I'd certainly agree about the scouting letting him down. I wouldn't maybe say the boards are letting him down because they have invested money. You look at Pritchard, you look at Canos, you look at Oliveira, that's 20 million straight up. But the scouting's certainly not been there, and that starts at the top. I wouldn't agree with the tactics. A manager should be versatile. You look back at Paul Lambert, one of the best managers in recent times, one of the best managers ever for Norwich City. He was able to change his tactics within a game, not let alone from one game to another. Alex Neil hasn't done that. It doesn't seem like he's adapting to these situations very well. So kind of agree with Max there. Roy Boy says Alex Neil out, not flexible enough. Even when things are going wrong, he can't/won't change things. I'd agree there. Kieran, a Newcastle fan, says Neil in so we can win the league comfortably. Paul says 10 points from top, but also 10 points from 19th. Questionable formation and team selections, simply not good enough. Alex Neil out. Johnny Young says, as much as I would like to see change, I say Alex Neil in at the moment. Realistically, who else is available and likely to come to the Championship? Would probably agree there. I suppose you would have to be looking at managers that already have a club and try and pull them out. A lot of people were saying Gary Rowett. But except for that, I mean, some people were looking at Lambert, but of course now he's gone to Wolves. So I suppose Steve Bruce and people like that. Big Sam, maybe. I have no idea. Ella Tovel says, keep him, with lots of exclamation marks, and give him the chance and time to turn it around. The bad run of games doesn't make him a bad manager. I would agree with the bad run of games doesn't make him a bad manager, but at the same time, you have to be, flexible and change things, because Alex Neil seems to have lost what made us all love him. His attacking football, his confidence, his kind of arrogance at times, but his arrogance has turned into kind of bitterness. He's not playing this free-flowing attacking football anymore, and the confidence seems to have drained out of him. So, I don't know. Chris says Alex Neil out like a carbon copy of Neil Adams' run 2 years ago. Alex Neil has run out of ideas on how to get the best out of this squad. I would agree there with Chris. It's very similar to that Neil Adams reign, isn't it? And Cameron Duran says, Alex Neil out, year of poor football. Excuse was he's learning year on and he's still making the same mistakes. No plan B or A, arguably. And I suppose I'm going to end it there. That's a fantastic argument from Cameron. Let's not forget that it's not just this bad run of form now. He did also get us relegated from the Premier League. And I suppose I've been hanging on he brought us up from the Championship when we were in 12th place, and it was unbelievable. And then we got into the Premier League and he kind of screwed it up. We were in a position where we should have stayed up and we didn't. That was probably Alex Neil's fault. We couldn't grind games out there. You look at West Ham away, you look at West Ham at home, you look at Liverpool, games like that where we couldn't grind games out, and that's kind of carried on to this season. So I really don't want to say this, but I am actually Alex Neil out. I think he's lost the dressing room, and he looks unimaginable. I've been to every single game this season except for Newcastle away and Wigan at home, because we broke down. And I can honestly say that I've never seen a run of form change so drastically, and a manager seemingly lose control of his players, and the players completely lose faith in their manager. I've never seen something like it. So for me, Alex Neil out. Who do we bring in? That is the tough bet. That is the tough one. But, at the end of the day, there's going to be managers out there. I'm just not sure who at the moment, which is a pretty poor argument. But I can't see things changing at the moment, which is a sad thing to be, because I love Alex Neil to pieces, but I think he's lost the dressing room. Once you lose the dressing room, it's game over, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave it a like as always. You can click to subscribe, or there'll be something at the end where you can click through. Massive thanks for all the support. on the videos in recent weeks. A big introduction to the Inter Matalan Season 2 coming tomorrow, so look out for that. Yeah, big thanks for watching and see you later. Peace out.